You know, I just there are two mythological figures that really get me, and some people argue that they're one and the same. So I don't believe that, and I'm kind of a esoteric Christian, um, but not that esoteric. I was thinking about why I did this. Right, I have chronic back pain, mind you. So living this kind of life, man. I'm gonna be honest. Um, I was genuinely considering euthanasia. Um, I was in so much pain the other day. I got out of work. I wanted to fucking like crawl in the bushes and die. Right. Uh, I called the police earlier. Right. It was a skunk. A guy hit by a car in by where my friend lives, and it was crawling around by this beer shop next to a bowling alley, and I was feeling this pain in my back, and just thinking like of how whatever this creature was going through, and I didn't want it to spray any pedestrians, and they came out and they were like, if there wasn't traffic, if if there wasn't you know, if it wasn't next to a business where the smell would stink it up for weeks, we would shoot it with a 22. We do it quite often. And, why wouldn't you? He was like, I've been doing this job for 25 years or 22 years. And when you see that kind of pain, you know, like, what other option is there than, to put it down? My thoughts exactly. I broke a bone in my foot, and I was limping for like, what, 4 months? And my back pain, my upper back, it hurt, um, just like worse, which is why, like, I'm the opposite of a hypochondriac. When I was when I was a kid, I got some type of injury, internal bleeding, and I was peeing blood. And I said to myself as a little kid, "We'll see where this goes in a week." My pneumonia went untreated, and I died. I literally died. I coded. Um, Flatlined, and I was brought back. Still don't quite fully know how. I remember it was like 2 months before I actually went to the doctors and got antibiotics, and he said, "How the fuck are you still alive?" I'm in severe pain right now. Like, I want to fucking bash my head into a wall and pass out. Um, I tore something in my wrist. Heard something tear. I wasn't like, well, my back pain's worse. So, like, it's not that serious. Um, my hand isn't properly connected to my wrist. Can you hear that? It didn't used to do that. Um, like, in all the ways that my body falls apart, if my back pain's worse, I don't even medically address it. You know, um, I'm honestly scared of because for the longest time I thought I can't get diagnosed with chronic pain because you know my grandmother was an opioid addict, and I saw the way she went, and I don't want that. That's fucking horrifying. Push me off a bridge, you know, take me out to the sunset on the docks and just shoot me in the back of the head, man. I was scared that if I properly got medicine, um, I would become an addict. I didn't want that, so I kind of just lived with the pain and was stoic. And there's been many times where I'm just hanging out with friends and they think everything is alright, and meanwhile I'm just like fucking barely holding it together. Um, Runs in my family. Cousin's got scoliosis. My mom has like a birth defect in her spine, and my it's not my spine. It's my back muscles. Um, yeah. And I was honestly another reason, like after it was X-rayed and they were like, "There's nothing wrong." I kind of like had this again reverse hypochondriac mentality where it's like, "Oh well, if I follow this up or whatever, they're gonna think I'm faking it. Um, I might as well just live with it, right?" So yeah, I was scared that it was like, and keep in mind, like all my friends that know me know I don't self-diagnose. So the fact that I was considering this, I thought it might be a neurodegenerative disorder or something involving tremors and muscles, and I was honestly fucking scared. I'm still scared to end up like fucking Stephen Hawking, that's not living, although he somehow, you know, managed to cheat on his wife and have a wife. So uh, clearly, you're not that limited with it, I guess. But if I can't imagine sex with you know, ow, ooh, 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 ooh. No, no. But no, when I they gave me a temporary medicine, it was Flexeril, muscle relaxant, and the pain's been like so bad I lost a job over it because I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't move. I couldn't even like I wanted to crawl to the phone and call 911 and I didn't have it in me. I was stuck there in the days I missed. It's been like that since I was like a teenager, but it wasn't nearly as bad as it is now. I just this isn't living, this isn't living. I hope no one ever has to feel that kind of pain. You know, but pain is also, in one sense, kind of good. You know, and worse in other ways, I suppose. I you know, I just I think about all of the fucking times I've taken life for granted, all the times I could have done good things and I chose to do bad things. I chose this womanizing mentality, this arrogant mentality, this type of fucking, I don't know, just being subsumed with lust for sex and money, material items, and just, I don't know, stealing, lying, just being, I look at who I used to be when I was younger and just, I don't even understand how that person seems foreign to me. I was such a bad kid. I used to upset family members because they'd be like, "Look at this photo of you when you were a kid." When they weren't looking, I'd take that photo and burn it with a lighter, and they'd get all upset with me. Why would you do that? Because I can't look at that kid and think that I and that kid were the same human being. I can't do it. I was a obnoxious little kid that used to throw rocks through windows and torture toads, shoot squirrels for fun, and just hurt animals, and hurt people's feelings. I used to bully people, and I can't I like there is an intentional cognitive dissonance. I can't look at photos of me when I was younger without feeling physically repulsed. I can't. I have a photo of my sister and my grandmother and me, and I cut myself out of it. Um, as I just couldn't do it. I can't bear it. You know. And I was just talking to a friend named May, um, and he was like, "Oh, you're going homeless? I wish I could send you." No, no, no. Like I told her, trying to donate 30% of my income to charity, and she's like, that's way too much. You need that money. I'm like, no, I don't. No, I don't. Because I think about Prometheus and Jesus. Prometheus, right? We think of, these ancient Greek stories, and just think, even if you don't take it as a literal event, even if you think it's kind of metaphorical and proverbial, if you think it's metaphorical and proverbial for something, then regardless, I mean, the implications are just still like profound. Even the idea that someone with these motivations could exist, the idea that humans used to live in prosperity with a level of freedom we don't have in this modern day. We used to live forever. We used to be immortal. Death was not a thing to us. We had as much food as we could ever need, as much as we could ever want. Just, gold and everything. And then to have Zeus, come along and take our immortality, take our fire, our wealth, our freedom, and enslave us, and to take away little boy's virginity. Gadamine. That's a real thing, Gadamine. Look that up. Zeus and Gadamine. He had a boyfriend that was a little boy. Greek mythology, man. Sorry, he was his cup bearer, but what kind of cup? A chalice or Zeus's cup? Big brain logic. And the idea that Prometheus looks at this established order and thinks, this guy is fucked up. This is an evil prick. And that he is like, you know what? Despite all that, I'm gonna go outlaw. I'm gonna go rogue. The fact that he steals this fire back, takes it from the gods and gives it back to who originally owned the fire, knowing damn well what would happen to him. To be chained to a rock for eternity, to have a eagle eat his liver out of his body, so we could have the basic dignity of a gas heater in our house, grilled cheese, a warm blanket, a fireplace, hearth. These things that we just don't think about. We think about, oh man, fuck, this heating bill, this is too much. But the fact that you even have heat, and then you think about like some people in this world that are literally freezing to death. Oh, just to have heat, Yeah, obviously, like, the bills are ridiculous, and people charge you an arm and a leg and a kidney just for the basic dignities of being a human being. But man, like, is it ever occurred to any of us like how profound it is that your children are warm? My ancestors, my family a few generations ago, the children died because it was too cold. And like, wow, I'm warm. Like, you ever just sit back and gone, wow, I'm fucking warm, And just to think, oh, this proverbial or literal or metaphorical, figurative Prometheus, like, the idea that someone would be willing to go through, Abu Ghraib type torture just so we could have the basic dignity of being warm, is a truly profound um, thing, And Jesus, I'm not one of those esoteric Christians that are like, oh, well, he's the same as Wotan, or he's the Christos, the sun, right? He's Sol Invictus, or he's Mithras, right? He's this Yuletide solar religion thing that was taken by Christianity and appropriated into this figure. No, I literally believe he was an avatar of Source, right? He was God and man in the flesh, and that he came to redeem us of our sins. And now I just think of all the ways I've treated people in my life, um, all the ways I've disrespected other people and even disrespected myself. And, you know, I've lost friends from that were in Donetsk. I miss them. And just seeing uncensored footage of the things the Ukrainians and Russians are doing to each other, to see the dead Palestinian children, or the camps in the Soviet Union, or the things we did to the people of Vietnam, and just like the sheer amount of torture, rape, and just sadomasochism, and just oppression, and just death, and just terrible, inexcusable inhumanity. And just to think that despite all of that, he still loved us enough to incarnate into this fucking filthy monkey race we call humans, and to bring himself, this high and mighty being that could have stood above us, to come down to our level, to be born into some fucking, you know, poor fucking family from a fucking unholy bloodline, um, to obey Joseph, as a kid, knowing everything in the universe and still having the humility to obey his father, and to be a good kid, to learn a human trade, carpentry, despite being able to just probably spawn a master-crafted table out of thin air, to instead of like summoning like a Lamborghini, or from just out of nowhere, or a white horse, he picked the most filthiest animal, a smelly old ass, a donkey, and rode it into Bethlehem. Was it Jerusalem? I'm so tired, man. Um, you know, I was saying to my friend May, you know, we put thorns into his head, and he still loved us. We whipped him until the flesh on his back was exposed, and he still wept for us and loved us. We forced him to drag his cross under the scorching sun, and he still loved us. We put nails into his wrist and hoisted him and humiliated him and degraded him, dehumanized him, and he still loved us. He still said, forgive them, they know not what they do. He pleaded for us, he prayed for us. And we died after however many hours of excruciating fucking agony. And he still loved us. Now, even if you, I'm saying this from a purely philosophical level, as I know most of the people that probably watch this have an aversion to Christianity. I'm saying this maybe from a more proverbial level. The idea of being, denied and treated like that, and having the knowledge of everything we've ever done wrong, it's bad enough. It's burdensome, and to think about the stuff we have done as individuals, our shortcomings, and to realize that for a lot of us, I'm not trying to project, at least for me, but some other people, the bad we've done in this world in many ways might have outweighed the good we've done, and the idea that someone could know our heart's content to the most vilest, deepest corners of our darkest mind, and still die, die for us, to die for me. I think of Marcus Aurelius. The man was emperor of the known world. Um, no one ordered him around. He was everybody's boss. He could have slept in bed, and not gotten up for work, and no one would have said a thing. He's the emperor. He can do as he will. Plenty of emperors before him did just that. But he got out of bed early, He had the pressures of the Tiber River flooding, the plague sweeping across the Roman Empire, and the Germanic people to the north. and dealing with a war that seemingly with no end, constant pestilence, starvation, famine, and flooding, um, and just kept his shit together and was like, just like wrote about it. He didn't want fame and glory. He like the whole thing people don't realize is that Meditations by Marcus Aurelius wasn't something he wrote. Um, like a Jordan Peterson book on how he has achieved enlightenment and he wants you to clean your room. He kind of wrote it expecting that no one would ever read it, that it would just collect dust and get thrown away, right? But so his thoughts are genuinely profound when it gives off this kind of vibe, when he's not even saying what applies to the world, but what applies to himself and what he should do. And then to have like so many people read that and realize like, initially think like he's speaking about all of us, but then to realize that that's just us realizing that, oh fuck, we're in the same boat. This guy was probably the wealthiest person on earth at that point, and you know, instead of just like taking life for granted, he slept on the floor, the cold hard floor, naked with just a bowl of water and a piece of moldy stale bread, and ate that and drank that, just to remind himself that the people that he serves, that he works for in the city of Rome, are living in those conditions, naked on the cold floor, um, with no food or water. Um, and just to kind of ground himself in this mentality of like, wow, this is what the people that look up to me, that have expectations of me, are going through. Just that, like, that is humility, right? He didn't brag about that, right? I'm sorry if me saying I'm donating 30% of my income and then putting it on a YouTube video is vain. If that comes off as arrogant, it would probably be better if I just journaled, if we're being honest here. But you can't even say that he was being vain. He was just like collecting his thoughts, and that was his daily planner. Um, you know, like, these are what the people expect of me, and this is what they have to go through. Like, wow, another human being goes through this, and I have this in my life. Like, blessed. Hashtag blessed. Um, that was, you could say what you want about it. Maybe he wasn't a good father, because look at how Commodus turned out. Maybe, imperialism probably wasn't that great. You know, provoking war with the Germanic people probably wasn't that great. Um, you know, but for a Roman, in that time in history, to be like that, just profound. And I often found myself in the same position where I would be in my apartment on a bed, regular spring bed, and I'd go, oh man, oh, this bed is just not comfy. It just doesn't feel as good, right? Like, I think I deserve something better. I feel like I deserve something like memory foam. I get a memory foam bed. Oh, this is too soft. I need something a little more firm, whatever. And then I'm just like, I keep going. And then it's like, what am I gonna get? A fucking water bed? You know? And then it's like, I tried sleeping on the floor. I slept on the floor. And the first thing I thought of when I woke up wasn't the bed. The first thing I thought was, wow, I have a fucking roof over my head. Isn't this great? Like, God, how many people don't have a fucking roof over their head? That's fucking scary. There are people out there, you know? And I gave a blanket and food, to this one fucking homeless guy who was a drug addict, mind you, and he completely threw away the blanket. I found it in a trash can, and out of all the food I offered him, he only took the junk food, which fucking sucked. Like, take this fucking apple and this tangerine. Like, you don't need a fucking Snickers bar. Anyways, he just slept next to a fucking garbage can, and like I was just looking at him. I was literally looking down on him from up in my apartment through the window and seeing him across the street sleeping on the ground. This guy who looks like he should be retired, who looks like he should, he had a walker, his legs were all fucked up, and I'm just standing. This is the prelude to me moving out and becoming homeless. I said to myself, I was like, wow, I'm 23 years old and I have a fucking roof over my head. I have all this comfortable stuff and I want more. I just want fucking more. I just want more and more and more. And when does that stop? It doesn't really stop. It just keeps going. And it's like, I'm standing here being like, oh, I want this poster on my wall. I want to buy this off of Amazon. This is my Etsy wish list. And then I just look out the window and I'm like, how is there a fucking 50-year-old man sleeping across on the road next to a fucking garbage can? And I'm standing here in this fucking apartment it just fucking wiping my ass. Fucking things. It's like he should be here. What? Why? How is it fair? I think, oh, life's unfair. I don't have this money to go to the fucking money to go to the movies or fucking buy comic books or whatever. And then there's like this fucking guy who just is fucking sleeping outside, and society has abandoned him. He has no way of probably fucking going to rehab. And I'm just standing here. I'm like, why am I not on the fucking ground next to the fucking trash can? Why am I standing here? Why am I looking at all these fucking things? I'm like, he should be here. I'm young. I'm strong. I have more of a means to I have a better chance by that fucking. Is this what we do to our elderly? Why is, if at the very least, why the fuck isn't he in a home, right? I'm not saying that you should go to an old folks' home when you're 50. That's not what I'm trying. But I'm just saying, like, why, like, what have we? How have we failed as at a society? If me, the young fucking buck, the fucking young fucking Prince Bambi, is fucking complaining over this menial shit, and the fucking like these people, I'm just like, how? Like, I thought to myself, how am I in an apartment? Why? Like, it was like, why is life so unfair? Why is he sleeping out there? Why am I not out there sleeping with him? I fucking ruined it. But, God. Sorry, God. It's yeah, it makes no sense to me. I'm like drawing straws. I'm like, I have the audacity, and it's just like, I never want to fucking complain about this. I don't want to have all these reasons to complain. Now out here, like, I'm gonna be honest. This isn't good. This isn't a good thing to admit. But earlier, I got food poisoning from some chicken at Weiss, and I tried to make it to the public bathroom, and I shit my pants. Liquid shit. My legs were drenched in feces. Like, I finally made it to the bathroom at a park after hours that you're not supposed to be in after hours. Went into the fucking bathroom. I just spent like a fucking hour on that toilet, shitting my guts out, and I like took my underwear off and fucking drenched it in soap and water and just kept fucking cleaning it in a sink that other people use, because that's kind of fucked up. But it's already a disgusting bathroom, granted. Homeless people go in there to do drugs at night, but I'm just like fucking wringing out my underwear and like standing there. Anyone could walk in, any crack addict. I'm there, my ass exposed, just pantsless. I'm wearing this hood, nothing underneath, right? Just my socks, and I'm standing there. I have one leg kind of up on the sink, and I'm getting like these wet paper towels, and just they're all soaked in brown, throwing them in the toilet and repeat until I'm fucking clean. Got all the shit out of my underwear. Fucking, it's hanging on a branch way over there by the woods. Yeah, I'm currently commando. And I really gotta say, after I didn't complain once. I just was like, Like, I don't have it that bad, you know? Like, this might be bad on a first world level, but I don't have it that bad. You know, here I am drenched in shit, and I'm like, I can't really find anything to complain about. I have it pretty good, all things considered, you know? It's like fucking all the shit that people don't have in this world, and the only thing I have to complain about is shit. I'd rather just not complain at all. As opposed to me living in an apartment with a bathroom and fucking thousands of dollars worth of books and fucking merchandise, and I'm just like, I can take a shit whenever I want, take a shower whenever I want, have all these things, and yet I'm never gonna go, oh, wow, I have a shower, you know, I have a toilet, I have a nice warm room. Instead, I'm out here covered in shit, and I'm thinking, yeah, you know what? It's great to be alive. It's great to be alive, you know? I'm not mad. I'm not blaming God. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just trying to live in the moment, you know? I'm just standing there naked, and I'm just like, shit's dripping down my leg, and I'm like, glory to God. I'm alive, and you know what? This is pretty good. This is a good life, you know? And the fact that I have the privilege of standing here littered in my own excrement, I wouldn't have it any other way. You know, Marcus Aurelius. I'm sure that's exactly what he had in mind. Yeah, definitely. You know, here I am leaking like a spigot, and I'm like, you know what? At least I have paper towels, right? At least I have a branch to dry my underwear on, you know, and I have a job to go to tomorrow, and a job to work hard in, you know. I have food, I have water. I can wake up every morning and hear the birds chirping, feel the wind in my hair. You know what? There is nothing to complain about. Life is good, you know? I'm like thinking, oh, I'm covered in shit. Well, yeah. Well, fucking Christ was fucking like crucified on a splintered piece of popsicle stick and plywood, and went through just like excruciating agony for me as a human being, right? And what am I gonna say? It's like that scene from Kingdom of Heaven where King Baldwin. I'll edit it in because that I know it's a fucking Ripley movie and it's like made by an atheist but it's still like this is what was going through my mind as I was drenched in shit.
Do you play? The whole world is in chess. Any move can be the death of you. Do anything except remain where you started, and you cannot be sure of your end. Were you sure of your end once?
I was.
What was it?
To be buried 100 yards from where I was born.
And now?
Now I sit in Jerusalem and look upon a king.
When I was 16, I won a great victory. I felt in that moment I would live to be 100. Now I know I shall not see 30. None of us know our end, really, or what hand will guide us there. A king may move a man. A father may claim a son. That man can also move himself. And only then does that man truly begin his own game. Remember that howsoever you are played, or by whom, your soul is in your keeping alone. Even though those who presume to play you be kings or men of power, when you stand before God, you cannot say, "But I was told by others to do thus," or that virtue was not convenient at the time. This will not suffice. Remember that.
You feel me? You know, it could be worse. This is the good life. You know, all these people feel bad for me. They're like, "Oh, you know, I'm so sorry you're going through this. You know, it must be this isn't going to be easy. This isn't a smart decision. You should do this, you should do that." And it's like, "Oh my goodness, he's throwing his life away." And I'm like, "Man, I'm happier covered in fucking human feces than I ever was fucking working 9 to 5 and a fucking living in a wooden box, you know, and calling that a house, calling that an apartment when it was just a fucking, it's like a cage. Man, there is so much fucking worser shit going on than to worry about someone like me not having mild societal conveniences. Like, I'm covered in shit and I'm like thinking, well, you know what? There is someone shitting their guts out with like some fucking unknown disease somewhere in Africa. Like they're shitting blood. They probably have a fucking prolapsed anus and they're fucking puking up vomit and dying and choking on their own. It's just like there are children in Sierra Leone that are yeah, oh god. That's There are children in Sierra Leone dying of tuberculosis, a disease that is one of the most curable on earth. And we're so fucking greedy. All we can think about is playing fucking Fortnite and buying a battle pass. And there are children dying of fucking tuberculosis. We're like, oh, well, we don't have that anymore, so fuck them. How about fuck you? You know? It's like, don't fucking pity me. Pity the fool. No. That's like, maybe I am a fool, but fuck, man. It's just, it's tragic. I just like, you know, I feel like maybe people need to be covered in a little more shit, you know? Maybe they need to fucking shit their pants more and learn what life is really about.